Namaste and welcome from Dhananjaya Kumar. Here is a video, part 2 of ecstasy. In the earlier video, I had explained a few things and a couple of quotations. There are two additional quotations I would like to share with you. Whether the experience of ecstasy or ananda can be explained in words. Many great thinkers, philosophers, writers, sages have tried to explain, at least give a glimpse or a gesture of experience, but they all have failed to a large extent. However, in the language of poetry or in the writing style of poetry, a lot can be said without using many words. In other words, more can be said with fewer words. The way the words are arranged, the words don't explain, but what the words don't explain is partly the meaning that they are trying to convey. And here are two examples. So the first one is Rumi, who was a great mystic poet, and he has attempted, I am just as ecstatic as they are. I am just as ecstatic as they are, but with nothing to say. In other words, he is saying that there are many people who have experienced ecstasy or ananda. They have attempted to say, but I have nothing to say. Now the fact that he is saying that he has nothing to say, he is saying something. He is saying that there is nothing to say. And what is that which cannot be said? Is the experience of ecstasy or ananda. Because the moment you start describing it, you are limiting, reducing the experience. The moment you say, oh, I felt very happy. Well, actually it was not really happiness, because if you can be happy, next moment you can be unhappy. If he says it felt good, well, if you can feel good, you can also feel bad. Or if you say, I felt like I was in another world. Okay, which other world? You have to explain which is another world. Or I was in a bliss. What is bliss? It doesn't really explain. The word doesn't explain the meaning of bliss. So, I can go on and on, but the point is that he is saying that there is nothing to say. I am just as ecstatic as they are, as many others are. They have attempted to say, but I have nothing to say. So it's kind of helplessness. It's kind of limitation of words and language. Certain experiences can be had, but for which words have not been created. Because words have been created for communication, to exchange meanings. So if you saw a flower, white flower, and you tell somebody else, I saw a white flower, he will know what you mean. So language was developed for communication among other people, with other people. So that when he's saying that he's reading a book, I know what he's doing, about what he's doing. So, the experience of ecstasy has not been shared. It cannot be shared because it is not a mental experience. It is experience of absence of thought. Now, when there is absence of thought, what can be said using language? Because language is a mental activity. Part of the brain deals with language and mathematics and rationality and logic, etc. So that part of brain can understand the language, but brain cannot express anything through language which is experienced beyond the brain, beyond the mind. It is not a mental activity that in your mind you are feeling something. It is the absence of mind in a purely meditative state where you have transcended the mind, intellect, thinking, memory, human experiences, all that. So I'm just as ecstatic as they are, but with nothing to say. Here is another beautiful one from Rumi. A great silence overcomes me. A great silence overcomes me, and I wonder why I ever thought to use language. The moment you use your language, your brain gets activated and you start thinking, contemplating, remembering something, comparing. So a great silence, well, this can be a hint of the direction in which ecstasy happens. A great silence overcomes me, which means I'm not experiencing silence. Silence has wrapped me. Silence has overcome me. It has covered me. And I wonder why I ever thought to use language. Because using language, start communicating and thinking actually disturbs that silence that Rumi is talking about. So I'm sure much more can be said in an attempt to express what is ecstasy or ananda. But I think for now these words are enough. I leave you to contemplate further on yourself. Thank you for listening and paying attention. See you again soon.